Hey guys, what's up? This is Prez. You can probably tell by the title of this video and by the way I'm speaking, this has nothing to do with Yu-Gi-Oh! Excalibur and Hardcore North Wrestling. Normally, if anything I upload would be outside of any of those two categories, it would have something to do with an update to my channel, or just something random to go by, or whatever, something along those lines. It's been always something like that, but this is an entirely different case. This is a very serious thing. It has nothing to do with Excalibur or Hardcore North Wrestling or anything of the sort. This is more of a personal video that I wanted to share with all of you. Just a very important message for the 10 minutes that I've got through this camera. I don't even know where to start, really. But I've just recently had what you would call, I guess, a life trance. One of those life-transforming hours late at night. I could not sleep last night. The time around here is about 5:30 right now in the morning. And the sun just kind of actually rose up. It's early Wisconsin, so it's going to rise up a little later than usual. But I've been going through a bunch of contacts with old friends. And, recent people. I've just been in the transition of just graduating from high school, getting into work, of course, in college. And at that point, I just realized I've been having depression for 6 years, and I'm still not happy. I've made the transition and everything, and I've really had the agenda, I guess, just to make a paycheck, make a living. And I've really been not being able to live with that kind of lifestyle. It's hard for me to speak. I'm sorry, guys, I really am, but this is kind of more of a personal thing I'm drawing out. Of course, I'm not going to speak as clearly. But to paint the perspective of how this has been going on, earlier today, I woke up as usual at 9 o'clock, or around 9:30, went to work as always, put in the hours, added everything up for my hours, got my paycheck, and I left. And afterwards, earlier today, I've been so busy recently, and I've just found everything, especially even after school, to be a 5-day repeat of the same thing, and just, I don't know, it feels like I've been living as a machine recently. You go to school, you transfer over to work, then you go home, then you go to sleep, barely enough for 8 hours, and then you wake up, do the same thing over for another 4 days, and then spend the weekend doing whatever, and then you repeat. You do this for about another year. That's what I've been doing. And I guess I'm going to be working for the rest of the summer. There's a bunch of normally I would get into politics or something stupid like that, say something about, the popular or the privileged kids, it's not fair for them to be going out and having fun, they didn't deserve it. All of that talk goes away for now, because whether they've earned it or not, they're having the time of their lives probably in, like, California or the Guatemala or something like that, and I'm sitting here just not happy. And I wanted to spend some time with a couple friends earlier yesterday, just to hang out by downtown where I live around and kind of decompress, take the time out of everything else going on in life. And I got no responses. I was traveling around alone, just trying to figure out what to do in my spare time, but because I've been so wired. And I just figured, this is just not good enough. And this is just me on my personal story, but there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to say, who are you to talk? You've got it easy. You don't live in the city like me, blah, 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 blah. It really doesn't matter what your background is. I've been through a lot of stuff myself, too. My dad left me 2 years ago. I had to spend about 2 weeks under what felt like house arrest. My mom was in jail for about 2 weeks, and I couldn't leave the house just because no transportation or anything. I couldn't leave the house for about another 3 months after that. It's just everything fell into perfect position. It's like the planets aligned to screw me over in some kind of fashion. It's just, through the way, especially through high school coming here, it's just I've never really been happy. And I've been trying to reconnect a lot with friends. The people that you can easily let go. You've probably heard me say this. The people in high school aren't going to matter 5 years from now. You can easily say that about the people who, maybe the athletes or the gossipers or whatever. You know, your situation's different from mine. Anybody among those sorts that you can't relate to or people that'll bring you down, you can, you know, tune out the time that you have with them, but that's also the same time that you're spending with, you know, a couple of your pals, you know, the people that have really made the difference for you. And I guess I've been taking that for granted. But besides that, really, I really don't have any other way to say about it. I'm just plain not happy with life right now. So after just, it's so different from Excalibur. This is more of a real life thing. It's easy to spot a difference going into the camera and then behind the scenes in my real life and then seeing this. But this is in all seriousness. There's too many people in this country, people I know. I've had chats with other pals every other day about, you know, how they're not happy, they've got problems, they're worried about something, they're not focusing on the good things, you know, things to come. It's just everybody seems to have a chip on their shoulders. Everybody seems to have a problem. And I couldn't sleep last night. I just figured I've had enough. I've had enough of being sad. I've felt sick of being sick. It's just, I've had enough. 6 years of being depressed. I just couldn't take it anymore. This is not what life is about. Really, there's a lot of people that have probably had worse, you know, cases of depression than I have. Or anybody in general that's not happy because of, like how I said earlier, financial reasons. It could be anything, really. I'm not speaking for one niche, I guess. I'm speaking, like, for almost everybody and just my personal viewpoint. I'm so sick of people being not happy with their lives. And it's not necessarily always their fault either. Stuff happens. But, I'm sorry, I have to check the time. But my message here is, my revelation throughout this whole thing, you know, I'm sick of being unhappy with life. I'm not going to spend the rest of my 20 years like this, of course. I just want all of you to know, just take this in for a second. Take whatever else you've got going on right now and just move that away for now. Regardless of what kind of background you might have, you do have choices in your life. And being stuck at my own house for about 3 months, you know, somewhere in, you know, the middle of my senior year, and getting close to that now, I thought I didn't have any choices either. And I didn't have a lot of friends with me. You know, everybody's a little spread out. That's where it is, personally, where I live. Everybody's about, you know, 10 miles from each other. I didn't have any resources around with me, but yet you still have the power to make a choice. You know, there's a lot of power, really, in taking control of your own life. And that goes beyond just, I think I showed you earlier with my Chevy Impala, just recently getting that. There's more power to that beyond that. You don't necessarily need to have a car. You don't have to live, you know, somewhere outside of the city. You don't need any of that, really. It's just, anybody that thinks that they aren't in control of their life, and, you know, happiness in life is impossible, I'm going to be seeking that out right now, so please do not assume that it's, you know, out there and it's an impossible kind of thing. You know, the opportunity may not come for you for whatever reason in this period of time for you, because we're always going to be living in present tense, but you do have the ability to be making choices in your life at some point in time. And when that time comes around, when you do have the time to capitalize, you know, you're going to know it, because I knew it this morning when I couldn't sleep at night, and I was wallowing over my bed over it. Yeah, surprisingly. But I shouldn't even be smiling about it, but that is a serious thing. There's too many people living unhappy, but getting repetitive, but the pursuit of happiness, guys, that's all I can say. This has been Prez Komori. Any of my fans that have really looked up to me as a role model, I never really got the chance to say thank you, but I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you all.